Guys right here.
All right, folks, we are live.
Hey everyone, happy Thursday morning. We are here live with Daniel Jacob Horine, the artist and creator of Popfly Pop Shop. Say hello, Daniel.
Hello, folks.
And we are here with the 7-time All-Star, 2 World Series ring champion, batting title, 1981 to 1986, minimum 70 bags a year, Hall of Famer, Tim Raines. Let's go. Welcome, Tim Raines.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Hey, maybe you're a Tim Raines fan and you're not really sure what this is. Daniel has created something beautiful called Popfly Pop Shop, and every week there is a baseball print that he creates and releases. It is only available this week. It is retired this Sunday forever. So go to popflypopshop.com. Get your print reserved. There's an autograph option, a Hall of Fame inscription option. Check out those different drop downs. Also, get your question in. If Daniel likes your question, it will get fed to Tim Raines himself. Tim Raines, let's just jump into it. Did you ever read comic books as a kid? What's it like seeing yourself on a comic book style cover?
Oh, it's awesome. Actually, I really didn't read comic books. I mean, I kind of watched the, just kind of looked at them. Really, I didn't really read them. I was into sports so intensely, from football to basketball to baseball. So I really didn't have time. I was always doing something.
That's the typical answer from Hall of Famers, is they weren't reading comics. They were out on the field. Well, Daniel and I, we want some clarification because there's a lot of legend about where did the name Rock come from. We need to hear it straight from you, Tim Raines. Where did the nickname Rock come from?
Well, it's according to who you ask. If you ask me, I'll tell the truth. But if you ask my teammates or ex-teammates, they'll tell you that, the reason why they call me Rock because I played second base and I couldn't catch the ball at second base. So they say I had rocks in my glove. and that is not true by any means. But the reason why I got it in the minor leagues, I was a football player first before I became a baseball player. So, as a kid, I felt like growing up, I wanted to be a football player.
Wow.
Even though I played, other sports, baseball was my second favorite sport. Actually, I got to play baseball more. But when I was drafted, I was built more like a football player than I was a baseball player. So there's a couple of guys that said, "Man, you built like a rock man or something like that." And I say that's pretty cool. I can take that. I can deal with that. And it kind of stuck. And as I went up to the major leagues, the players recognized that they called me Rock, and but they figured, you're not that built. You're just a little kid right now, so we can't call you Rock for that reason. We'll make up something else. So they made up the rocks in the glove deal.
They appropriated your nickname.
Yes.
Daniel, if you could bring up the print again, I'm curious, as the artist here, how did you depict the Rock yet honored sort of his speed burning abilities?
That was the tricky part, because Mr. Raines, you're obviously known for your speed, but the name Rock doesn't really communicate momentum, and so I was kind of challenged with that concept, and so I wanted to lean into, yes, your speed, but also your power. You weren't a one-trick pony. You had power from both sides of the plate. So I want to have some offensive weapons there as well, also communicating the speed. You're like busting through that rock barrier. I've got that little silhouette there at the bottom. So I wanted to communicate strength and power as well as that speed as well, which was tricky.
I actually felt like it came out perfect. I know you sent me a few other pictures, and I saw those. But when I saw this one, I felt like that was appropriate for the way I played the game.
Yeah,
it's great to hear.
And Daniel pointed out to me that Rock Raines was actually on a couple of Topps baseball cards. How did that happen? Did you request? Did they request it? How did that happen?
No, what happened was I had been traded to Chicago White Sox from the Expos of my first year in Chicago. I went from a National League team to an American League team. So, back in those days, we didn't play in interleague play.
Yeah.
So I went to a totally different league, and I wasn't really familiar with all the pitching. So I got off to a slow start. I think I was batting like about 220 in like the first couple months, and I felt like there had to be some other way to kind of get me started again.
Uh-huh.
So I remember telling the announcers in Chicago, I said, look, I hadn't really been playing that well. Been swinging the bat that well. So when you announce me over the intercom today, why don't you announce me as Rock Raines instead of Tim Raines? Because hopefully that'll get me going. Because, everybody calls me Rock, but when they announce me at a game, it's Tim Raines. So I said, let's do that this time. And as a matter of fact, everything started going a little better for me. I wasn't sure if that was going to be the reason, but actually it ended up working out for me. And not only that, they started putting on the card. They never asked me about putting it on the card, but they started putting it on the card because of they were started, announcing me as Rock Raines as well.
Wow, that's a rad story.
I love that too, and it feels very superhero-ish. You use your identity as a tool,
Right.
to advance you. I think that's fantastic.
I'm
gonna give myself a nickname when I go to draw. I'm gonna call myself.
It might work out for you. Things start working a little easier.
Speak it into existence.
Yep.
Can you show the Rock Raines print again, Daniel? Go to popflypopshot.com. It is only available till this Sunday. Now you know the real story behind Rock Raines. Get that autograph option. I was wondering if you were going to have him batting righty or lefty, because, man, Tim Raines, I was blown away at your stats. Your switch hitting, like you batted 293 and 294 from each side of the plate. Like, just talk about consistency. And so, Daniel, you went with both that I see, huh?
Yep. Yeah, I think the only pop fly I've done with bats in two hands.
I'm assuming, Tim Raines, you took a lot of pride in just being so consistent from both sides.
Well, that story, as a kid, I never switched hit. From Little League to high school, I never even attempted to bat from the left side at any time until after I was drafted. And the reason why they put me on the left side, the reason was that, you have speed from the left side, so maybe you can utilize your speed, maybe hit the ball on the ground or do some bunting or something like that to utilize your speed as a left-handed hitter. I fooled around with it as a kid, just going in the backyard with my brothers, and we will hit left-handed for one player, and we'll hit right-handed for another player, and that was really the only left-handed hitting I really had got, really in a real game. But when they gave me the opportunity to be a switch hitter, I said, I think I can do it, and it all worked out. Without me being a switch hitter, I probably would have been maybe, only hit against left-handed pitchers or only hit against right-handed pitchers. So it gave me an opportunity to be an everyday player.
Yeah, that's a strange culture right now. Like, we saw Mullins give it up a couple years ago, and I think Albies, he's one of my favorite players, but he's on the cusp of I think maybe giving up switch hitting. What's the magic formula? Like, when do you eject out of that and say, I'm just going to bat righty, I'm not going to switch it up anymore? Like, how good do you have to be from both sides?
Well, I think as it turned out, I had more power left-handed and didn't know it until I started really, hitting left-handed. And I was more of a pull hitter right-handed, and I was more of an opposite field hitter left-handed. But I had more opposite field power left-handed than I did right-handed. So it all worked out. Actually, I'm glad I made that decision, or they made it for me, because it was I think the difference of me being the player that I became.
Daniel, maybe you and I have power from Lefty. We just never tried.
That's exactly what I was thinking. There's hope for a 44-year-old rookie.
Let's show that print one more time. Get your Rock Reigns print. Go to popflypopshop.com. There's an autograph option, a Hall of Fame option. Daniel signs every one of these. They're only available until Sunday. Well, we got to talk about the stolen base threat. I was learning about the history because I know there's only four players with 800 or more stolen bases. But Tim Raines, your percentage is so much better than anyone else in that top list. You have not just the quality, but the quantity together. Like if you could have ripped more bags if you were willing to get thrown out a whole lot more, but it looked like you were very careful with the outs. Can you share the mindset you had behind that?
Well, I think, when I became a leadoff hitter, I felt like, there was a way for me to utilize the speed that I had on the base paths. I worked real hard at my craft as far as, knowing the pitchers, knowing the catchers, knowing the times from the pitcher to the catcher to second base and things like that. So they actually timed me from first base, on my takeoff from first base to when I slid into second. If I timed it perfectly, there was no catcher in baseball could ever throw me out if I did it the right way. Mm-hmm. And I realized that it was important not only to be successful when you're on the base paths, but get an opportunity to score runs and score runs for, guys like Andre Dawson and Gary Carter, who, were great hitters as well, but they drove in a lot of runs. So I felt like for me to be effective on the team that I was playing on, that one, find a way to get on base, find a way to get in scoring position, and get those guys easy chances to drive me in. And that was part of the way I played the game. And it was important not only for me and my success, but also the success of the team that I was playing with.
Yeah, I mean, your success rate was 84%, which I'm just saying that's a whole lot better than Ricky Henderson. I'm just throwing it out there.
Don't say that. Don't say that. I didn't say that now.
I said it. But, man, I was looking at the list, and there's Billy Hamilton is in front of you. And I'm not talking about the Billy Hamilton today who was on the Reds and stuff. This guy who played on the Boston Beaneaters in the 1800s. But they changed the definition of a stolen base. I didn't realize it.
Exactly.
He's a fraud. You deserve to be higher on the list, Tim Raines. And for those of you who don't know this, if he was on first base and he went to third on a single, which Tim Raines did that so many times they couldn't even count it, he got awarded a stolen base for that.
Exactly.
Why isn't there an asterisk saying
right.
that?
Well, any extra base the guys got, it was called a stolen base. So, if you hit a triple and you got to third, that's two stolen bases. So
yeah.
So I mean, it was the rules were and the way they defined the stolen base back in those days was totally different, and that's why I think I should be up at least one more notch up there on that list.
I 100% agree. Everyone look at that all-time list and bump Tim Raines up a spot. Show that print again. This is The Rock, the greatest stolen base artist of all time. 84% success rate. Switch hit 293, 294 from both sides of the plate. How long has it been since you've seen this beauty, Tim Raines?
Oh my God! Actually, I have one in a road uniform.
In which uniform?
I don't have that one. I don't have that one in the white uniform. So
he's got a road.
That makes it look authentic. I'd love to hear your reflection on just the Expos. You sort of bookend the Expos franchise. I mean, you played with Tony Perez, but then you played with Vlad Guerrero. Looking back, do you take a lot of pride in being just one of the centerpieces of that historic franchise?
I do. I mean, it's where I started, and I love playing there. I love playing in Montreal. When I first got there, it was a relatively new organization. I think 69 was the first year, and baseball wasn't really the biggest thing in Montreal, Canada. Actually, hockey was took top notch for everything there. But I think as the years went on, people started getting more familiar with baseball. They started loving baseball more. They felt like there was somewhere else that they could go, and the season was much longer. You know, you could go to a ball game for a whole week, and it was like a party at the ballpark. You know, after
Wow.
a while, because we started getting great players, Dawson Carter, myself. We started bringing in older players from other teams, like I said, Perez. Um, Actually, Pete Rose came through there, and a few other guys who were real recognized name players. And then baseball started. We never got as high as the Canadians as far as hockey was concerned, but it became a close second
Yeah.
for fans to come in to the ballpark. The Big O was a big place to go. It was I think you could probably put 100,000 people in there, but after a while, we started averaging 40,000, 50,000 fans a night, and it became very popular in Canada, in Montreal, and I really enjoyed playing there.
I'm glad Daniel had you as an expo on this print. Did you struggle with that decision at all, Daniel?
No. Tim, you're an expo. Yeah, that's what you're wearing on the plaque. That was the go-to. Of course, he has to be an expo.
Well, I went in the hall as an expo, so I
Yeah.
figured it was only fitting that it would be an expo.
Yeah, and for us kids of the '80s that grew up in the '80s, those baby blues are just a piece of perfection.
My favorite uniform of all time.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it feels like, I know you weren't on that team, but the strike on 95 that killed that franchise. They had an amazing team.
Yeah.
Well, people were saying at the time they must have had like I think 6 or 7 All-Stars on that team.
Yeah.
And probably the best team in baseball that year. Actually, I was on a team in Chicago. There was a pretty good team as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I when I look back at it and we didn't play the playoffs, I really, really would have wished that we played the playoffs and maybe gave myself as a White Sox at the time a chance to get to the World Series, and the Expos as well a chance to get to the World Series, where it could have been an Expo White Sox World Series and see who could have won it all.
That would have been it, man. My last question. So get your last question in to Daniel. If he picks it out, you'll get a giveaway. Daniel and I love baseball, but we love being a dad more than anything. We both have young boys. We play catch. Share your memories of playing with your son on the Orioles.
Oh my God, probably the biggest moment of my career, even though, Hall of Fame, all the, things I did as a player on the field, just playing in left field, him playing in center. I remember standing up for the national anthem before the game for the first time on the field, same uniform, playing in the game together. Tears went down my eyes. I didn't get a chance to see what he was doing, but I know I was kind of tearing up. And it was a special moment. I mean, win 2 World Series, all the accolades that I got as a player, but being able to play out in the outfield with my son is something that we actually talked about because I wasn't, we didn't really know how long I was going to play. He signed out of high school, so it took him a few years to get to the major league. So I told him maybe a year before we actually played together, I said, I'm running out of time, son. You better
hurry up.
Quick. We wasn't really sure if we could play on the same team, but I was just saying, I told him, I said, look, I'm going to try to hold on as long as I can. You make it to the major league, that will be good enough for me.
Wow.
Being in the major leagues at the same time, not necessarily being on the same team, but being in the major leagues at the same time would have been good for me. But the Expos and the Orioles made a deal. I think they was running out of outfielders at the end of, I think, 9/11. Made us push the season back another week. He was called up, and they needed another player. I was with the the Expos at the time, and they traded me over there. He didn't really know anything about it.
Wow.
We made the deal. I showed up to Baltimore. He was getting ready for the game on the field, and I showed up in my uniform, walked out on the field, and I think he saw a ghost because his dad was wearing the same uniform, and they were on the same field together. So
wow,
it was very special for both of us.
Man, I coach my kids' team, so for me, like coaching third base, my kid got his first extra base hit. And that feeling, I can't imagine that being on that stand. Is it just you guys in the Griffies? Are you the only ones that have done that?
I think so. As of now, I think we are the only ones that have actually played together in the outfield in the same field. The only difference between the two of us, they hit back to back, and they hit back to back home runs. He led off, and I think I batted fifth, so we couldn't do that. But I actually hit a home run, and he didn't. So I'm one up on him.
Oh, well, thanks for sharing that beautiful story. That reminds us what it is all about. Daniel, is there any fan questions there that sparked your interest?
Yeah, and there's a lot of love for you here, Tim, in the chat. And
right.
the question, I'd like to ask you two questions from the stream. The first one is from the Two Strike Noise podcast. It says, Ricky said he could steal 20 more bags a year with the bigger bases. What's your take on the bigger bases?
I don't think it makes that big a difference to me. I think all the other rules might help us a little more as far as the clock, and they can only throw over a couple times. After that, it's a balk if you don't get picked off. So I think the rules makes it a lot easier to steal bases. Pitchers now with the time clock as well, they know they've got to get rid of the ball at a certain time. So I think it makes it easier to steal bases now. I don't know about 20 more for me as far as the bigger bags, but the rules makes it a lot easier, I feel.
Yeah, for sure. Makes total sense. The next question is one I love when it gets asked. I love asking players this. Tim Raines, if you could choose your legacy, what would it be?
To be recognized as a player that played the game the right way. Every time I stepped out on the field, you're gonna get 100% from me, regardless of if I was doing well or not. And I always tried to be positive. Encouraged not only my teammates but other people to do things the right way and give it your all. And as long as I could play, I was going to give it everything I had. And I would love to be recognized as the guy that came to play the game and played it hard and played it the right way.
That's great. That's great. And in all these interviews that we've done, it really stands out to me when someone says this person was the greatest teammate I ever had. And that's what Frank Thomas calls you, the greatest teammate he ever had. And I think that's fantastic. Again, a lot of love in the chat. Montreal Mark says there's no one more beloved in Expos history than you. Best of all, you're a class act and a great human being. Thanks for everything, Rock.
Oh, thank you. Thank him for that.
Yeah. Well, you just take it personally.
Yeah.
Well, Daniel, can we show that print one more time? Again, this is only available until Sunday. So just get it right now. Popflypopshot.com. Rock Raines. He's called the Rock because he's yoked. You got the switch reality there. Consistent from both sides of the plate. He hits bombs. He steals bags. And he's a great human being and father. Get your Rock Raines, centerpiece of the Expos franchise history. Tim Raines, man, I enjoyed this time so much. Thank you for being so fun, for being so just open and easy to talk with. Man, thanks for your time.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I enjoyed it.
Thank you,
That
Tim.
is Tim Raines, the greatest base stealer of all time. He didn't say it, but I said it. 84% rate. Thank you, Tim Raines.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Woo!
Wow.
That was freaking awesome.
That was great.
Man, I'm like giddy right now.
I know it's such a thrill to talk with the greatest of the game, and then he's just great people as well.
Yeah, he reminds me of Ichiro with the stat line. So Ichiro was famous for saying, like during batting practice, he would hit bombs, and people would be like, "Hey, how come you don't like tweak your swing like that?" And he said something like, I'm not quoting him, like, "Oh, I could hit 30 or 40 home runs if I wanted to, but my average would go way down, and I would hurt the team." So his thing was, I want to hit 330, and that is a better. And so Tim Raines, I'm just telling you, he could have stole 1,500 bags if he wanted to, but that percent rate would have gone down. And you can hear his heart of, why am I going to take a chance stealing? I mean, he's talking about, I know the time of the pitcher. So this dude ain't guessing. We'll see if I make it. He is clockwork determined. I'm only going if I know I can get it, because I got these guys hitting behind me who's going to hit me in. Just the epitome of, it's not about my stat line. I'm doing what's best for the team. What a freaking awesome teammate.
Yeah, and that really also stands out as well. The players that we've talked with, these Hall of Fame caliber people, and they just reiterate it's all about the team. You know, it's even though I'm on the Hall of Fame, they recognize the team that was behind them to get them there.
Yeah, I'm just saying he could have gotten twice as many bags with a lesser success rate, but that would violate who he is as a person and just the character that he has.
Yep.
So Tim Raines, Daniel, what the heck took so long to get to this guy?
Baseball. Baseball is a big, long sport. It's fun. It's fun to explore the hits and the B-sides of baseball, and all have equal enjoyment, and certainly have thought about Tim Raines throughout this project. And actually, I reached out to him years ago. The Pop Fly's birthday is actually this month in June, their third birthday, and I think probably within the first year I begun to reach out to Tim Raines. So he's been in the works for quite a while.
Now, I love that you went with you didn't choose between, is he running the bases or is he batting? You really incorporated both. Walk us through more of that process.
I'll put the picture up here for a second. It was really to kind of honor what he did. He wasn't just a base stealer. He was a five-tool player. He was great offensively, defensively. He was just an all-around great player. And if it was just on speed, you know, I don't know if he was going to be on one of the greats, but he's one of you know, he's a fantastic switch hitter. I felt it was to honor, you know, the fullness of his abilities.
Yeah, one thing I didn't ask him was he didn't have very many pinch running appearances, which tends to tell the narrative of is because he was a complete player. Like, to be a pinch runner, you got to be on the bench to begin with.
Yeah.
So his value wasn't just that one aspect, one part of his game.
Right.
Man, that's cool. So this is his favorite uniform. That's cool that you nailed something so cool.
Yeah, it's funny too. You know, he mentioned the sketches that I sent over. I didn't even ask, like, what uniform do you want to be featured with? Like, just like, here's the Expos uniform. He's like, great job.
Man, I love the arc of his career. Then thinking about it, reflecting on his words, he really had the perfect career. He's on the Expos. Was a part of, as he said, taking this franchise from a hockey town, turning it into a baseball town. He goes to the White Sox and gets paid, and he gets to be a centerpiece of a good team. He goes to the Yankees and he gets the rings. He gets to win the championships, gets to go back to the Expos, gets that full bookend experience, but then he gets to play, literally catch with his kid in the outfield. Or like, what a perfect arc of a career.
Seriously, I never thought of it that way, but that is truly, you're right. I never thought of it that way.
Well, this
Bravo,
is. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I said, bravo, Tim Raines. That was well done.
Yeah, he wins for sure, right? So this is Tim Raines, again, 2-time World Series champ, batting title, 7-time All-Star, refreshing these stats again from 1981 to 1986, minimum 70 bags per year. no one was playing fantasy baseball back then, but if you were, you're drafting this guy with your first pick. Go to popflypopshot.com, get your copy reserved, autograph option, Hall of Fame inscription option. Daniel, any last words you want to share about this print?
I wish all the prints were this easy. This one just kind of fell out of the pen, fell out of my head, through my pen, and onto the canvas there. And this was such a fun one to make, and a lot easier than some others. And I think that's just a testament to Tim and his story, his legacy. It was an easy one to tell. And I also want to mention, as I alluded to earlier, Popfly's birthday is this month. Actually, June 12th is the actual day. But we're going to be celebrating all month long, probably all summer long. So lots of fun announcement, lots of fun things that we're going to be doing in the coming months. We've got some exciting stuff with the Hall of Fame again coming up soon. So happy to share all the stuff we've got cooking.
Now, define birthday. Is this when the Will Clark print went up for sale? Is this when you first started drawing the print? Like, how do you define the birthday?
The birthday is when it first went up for sale. It was a little brief history of Popfly. It was absolutely, really not intended to be anything at all. It was not even a project. It was here's this piece, and in an afternoon after work one day, like I'll put it up online and put a timer on it and kind of see what happens. And that was the day that I did it. It was a Friday afternoon, back when releases were on Friday afternoons. Friday, June 12th, 2020, a couple months into the pandemic. And now Tim Raines is release number 130. And we've kept pretty much the same model, same cadence since day one. So we're happy to celebrate in this absolutely unexpected journey. If I could have only known 3 years later, be talking to Rock Raines about the same project that I had started that day, just unbelievable. I still feel like I'm looking at this project from the outside in, like, wow, this is really cool, talking to all these stars that were on the baseball cards that you and I traded on your bedroom floor as kids.
The Rock Raines 1989 Topps card. That was cool hearing the background of that.
Also featured in his baby blues in that card.
Oh, man. So Popfly Pop Shop, third birthday, where you're entering the end of the toddler years for Popfly Pop Shop. Keep your radar on for the summer. Follow them on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Stay in touch. See what is going on. The phrase Hall of Fame was mentioned, so pay attention to see what exactly that means. But your immediate concern is before Sunday, and I saw someone say it last week. They're like, oh, I meant to get this print, and I forgot. Who is willing to resell one? Oh, man, don't be that guy. If that was you, I'm sorry. Don't be that guy. Just buy it right now before you forget. Popflypopshot.com. Get your Rock Raines. Get the autograph inscription. Hope to see you soon. Daniel, thanks for organizing this wonderful time.
Thank you so much, Evan. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thanks for the support. Thanks for hanging in there with me for 130 releases, and I'm looking forward to at least 130 more.
Woo!
Take care. Bye, everyone.